Heard of him, you say? He was bloodthirstiest buccaneer that sailed. Blackbeard was a child to Flint. The Spaniards were so prodigiously afraid of him that I tell you, sir, I was sometimes proud he was an Englishman.
What interests me is he had money.
Money? What those civilians are after but money?
That we shall soon know. What I want to know is this. Suppose I have here in my pocket some clue to where Flint buried his treasure. Will that treasure amount to much?
Amount, sir? Will it amount to this? If we have the clue you talk about, I'll fit out a ship in Bristol dock and take you and Hawkins along there, and I'll have that treasure if I search a year, sir.
Very well. Now, if Jim is agreeable, we'll open the pocket. A map of an island with latitude and longitude, writing, tall tree, spyglass shoulder, bearing a point to the north of northeast, Skeleton Island, southeast by east, 10 feet. The bar silver is in the north cage. You'll give up this wretched practice at once. Tomorrow, I start for Bristol. In 3 weeks' time, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 10 days, we'll have the best ship, sir, and the choicest crew in England. Hawkins shall come as cabin boy, you, Livesey, as ship's doctor. I'll go with you, Squire. So will Jim, and he'll be a credit to the undertaking. There's only one man, and I'm afraid of.
Who's that? Name that dog, sir.
You, sir, for you cannot hold your tongue.
In a few moments, we shall be bound for Treasure Island with Dr. Livesey, Squire Trelawney, and Jim Hawkins. We pause now for station identification. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System, WABC, New York. Tonight, the Columbia Network is bringing you Orson Welles in the Mercury Theatre on air in Robert Louis Treasure Island. As Jim Hawkins was telling us, we are eager to leave the Benbow Inn behind and set out for the docks in Bristol. It was longer than the Squire imagined we were ready for the sea. Weeks passed on.
It was longer than the Squire imagined ere we were ready for the sea. Weeks passed on. Then, one fine day, there came a letter from the Squire, from Bristol.
Dear Livesey, the ship is bought and fitted. She lies at anchor, ready for sea. It was the crew that delayed me, till the most remarkable stroke of fortune brought me the very man that I required. I was standing on the dock when by the nearest accident I fell in talk with him, and he had hobbled down there that morning with a parrot on his shoulder. To get a smell of salt, he said. Out of pure pity, I engaged him on the spot to be the ship's cook. Long John Silver he is called, and he has lost a leg. Is that Long John? Here, I'll go. Okay. Well, sir, I thought I only found a cook, but it was a crew I'd discovered. Between Silver and myself, we got together in a few days' company of the toughest old salts imaginable. I declare we could fight a frigate. Seaward ho, hang the treasure. It's the glory of the new sea that has turned my head.
On the 16th of April, the schooner Hispaniola had set sail from Bristol Harbour. It was more than 19 years ago, but I can remember it as if it were yesterday. Me in my new blue cabin boy's clothes, 19 years ago, leaning over the rail, waving goodbye to my mother, and doing my best not to cry, for at the last moment, it sort of hurt to leave her, and it was the first time I had been away from home. Then, a little before noon, Captain Smollett gave an order. The boatswain sounded his pipe.
and the crew began to man the capstan bars. Soon the anchor was shored up. Soon it was hanging, dripping at the bows. Soon the sail began to draw, and the land and shipping to slip by on either side. The Hispaniola had begun her voyage to the Isle of Treasure. On the second day out, I made the acquaintance of our one-legged ship cook, Long John Silver.
Hey there, boy. Come on in to Long John's galley.
To tell you the truth, at the very first mention of Long John Silver in the squire's letter, I'd taken a fear in my mind that this might be the very one-legged sailor that I'd watched for all those months back at Benbow Inn. But one look at him was enough. I had seen Captain Bones and Black Dog and Blind Pew, and I knew what a buccaneer looked like. Very different from this clean and pleasant-looking sea cook. His left leg was cut off close to the hip, and under the left shoulder he carried a crutch, which he managed wonderfully, hopping about on it like a bird.
Piece of the bait! Piece of the bait! Piece of the bait!
Are you Mr. Silver, sir?
Yes, me lad. Such is a me name to be sure. And you're Hawkins, eh? Nobody more welcome than yourself, me lad. In old John's galley. Sit down, hear the news. Your first trip to see Hawkins?
Yes, sir.
Well, there's a lot of things you're gonna learn before this here voyage is over. What do you think, Hawkins? And if there's anything you want to know, Hawkins, you just come to old John Silver and ask him, see he tell you.
His gallery was as clean as a new pin, the dishes hanging up burnished, and his parrot in a cage in one corner.
Here's Captain Flint. I call my parrot Captain Flint. Yeah, the parrot, after the famous buccaneer. Here's Captain Flint, predicting success to our voyage, wasn't you, Captain?
Piece of the bait!
Ha! She's a powerful old bird, is Captain Flint. 200 years old if she's a day, and if anybody's seen more wickedness, then it must be the devil himself. She sailed with England, the great captain England, the pirate, and on the old Walrus, that's Flint's old ship, as I've seen her marked with the red blood, and to sink with gold. She's been at Madagascar and at Malabar, and Suriname and Providence, and Portobello. To look at her, you'd think she was a baby, Hawkins, but you smelt powder, haven't you, Captain?
Stand by to go about.
And blood, eh, Captain?
Order amidships. Adam, all hands, back.
And pieces of eight, eh, Captain?
Pieces of bait. Pieces of bait. Pieces of bait. Pieces of bait. Pieces of bait.
Bravo.